Hello, I'm Sasha of Sasha Makes Cards, and welcome to this month's YouTube hop for a cherry on top crafts. It is now June, and the theme for this month's hop is Let's Celebrate, so I am making a graduation card. Given the time of the year, I thought it would be a nice twist on the Let's Celebrate theme, as lots of people are celebrating graduations, so why not share some graduation card inspiration? For my card today, I am using the Big Hugs stamp set from Simon Hurley. Now, the entire stamp set is perfect for the Let's Celebrate theme, but it does have the little graduation cap in there, so I thought it would be a fun stamp set to make a graduation card with. Now, I'm keeping this a pretty clean and simple card, at least clean and simple to me. I know that definition varies for everybody, whether it's completely white. However, I like to have a little bit of color in my clean and simple, a little bit of splatter. That's how I do it, but I'm using the cat image, of course, the graduation cap, as well as the sentiment, congratulations. I first started by stamping the cat image onto a scrap piece of white cardstock using the Honeybee Stamps Intense Black ink, and then I stamped the graduation cap on a separate piece of cardstock using mostly the same ink. So with the graduation cap, and this is why I didn't stamp them at the same time, I stamped the graduation cap using two different colors. I stamped the majority of the cap using the same Honeybee Stamps Intense Black ink, masking off the little tassel on the graduation cap using just a sticky note, and then stamped the tassel separately using some mustard seed distress oxide. To make sure the ink from my sticky note mask didn't transfer onto the cardstock, I just made sure to remove it before stamping the image onto the cardstock. Now, because I usually stamp my images multiple times, I just placed the little sticky note mask back on before inking and then removing it again before stamping the image. Now, you don't have to stamp these images separately. I just like to do so because I didn't want the ink to transfer. I wanted to give the ink time to dry, and knowing me, I would have ended up getting it elsewhere on the cardstock, so I just used a separate piece of scrap cardstock. And I keep a lot of scraps. I keep pretty much all of my scrap cardstock. So doing little things like this, it's perfect for me to finally use up some of the scraps that I keep. I fussy cut the graduation cap as well as the cat image using a pair of spring-assisted scissors. Of course, if you have the die cuts for these stamps or whatever stamps they're using, you can do that. I've grown to quite like fussy cutting. I used to not like it, but I actually kind of like it now. So I don't mind typically not having the die cuts for an image. For the sentiment, I just did the exact same thing. I stamped the congratulations sentiment onto a scrap piece of cardstock. You may notice that there were two stamped congratulations sentiments because I kind of misaligned it, and I just stamped it again, no big deal. But even the second time I cut it, after I trimmed it using my guillotine trimmer, it ended up being almost in the exact same placements as the last one, where it was not perfectly in the center, but I just went with it. I honestly don't think you notice it too much in the end. I will say this sentiment strip would be perfect if you want to use some embossing powder on it, especially if you want to emboss it onto black cardstock. That would give a very nice contrast to the card. I don't really like, well, it's not that I don't like. I don't often use embossing powder because it gets quite messy. I really want to use it more. So, I'm going to have to use it more. I just need to get used to using it. But an embossing powder on some black cardstock would also look very nice with this card. For the ink blending, I decided to go with what I think is kind of a classic graduation color. I don't know if it is. I decided to go with red and yellow. For this, I'm using candy apple and mustard seed distress oxides and ink blended a very quick little gradient at the top of the card, fading to white at the bottom. The ink blended background is the perfect chance to kind of customize and personalize your card. Ink blending instead of maybe a red-yellow gradient, ink blending the school's colors, I think would be a really fun, a little surprise, if you will, for whoever is getting this card, whoever's graduating. I think that would be a really nice touch. To finish off the background, I did something I do best. I added some splatter. I just used some black acrylic paint, put the paint on my glass mat work surface, sprayed it with some water, and splattered it onto the card just lightly with a fan brush. As I already mentioned, I know everybody has their own definitions of clean and simple, and while this might not be your definition of clean and simple, it works quite well for me. I always love some black splatter or white splatter on a clean and simple card. I think it just really adds to it because to me, I don't like having all white space. I need something there. So the black splatters in this card really does that for me. To finish off the card, I use some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to glue everything down, placing the strip at the bottom, the cap behind the strip, and then of course the graduation cap on the cat's head. And that is the completed card project. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little graduation card tutorial, inspiration, whatever you want to call it. As always, be sure to check out the description below for a complete list of all the design team members participating in this hop, and to hop along for a chance to win a $25 gift card to shop at a Cherry on Top Crafts. As well, my social media links are down there if you want to check me out elsewhere, and I will see you next time.